Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
Welcome to the Final Furlong podcast and your weekend preview. Best bets for Saturday on the way. If you were with us last week, hopefully you followed us in with 20-1 winner Chagrin in the Beverly Bullet. Yennefer, a 16-1 winner for George Gorman. Not he's only 16-1 winner. Admittedly, there was a Rule 4 with a bit of spirit, but that horse was tipped up at 16-1 by both Peter Michael and George Gorman. I talked him up as well. Didn't have the courage to back the horse. I went with humidity. But if you took the forecasts, then you did really well out of that, even with the Rule 4. Andy Newton, yet another winning nap on the Final Furlong podcast. Mission Central, don't complicate your mind. Absolute good thing. Hopefully, we've got more winners for you this week. But if you were with us last week for the winners, smash that like button. Hit the like button now. Join the Final Furlong podcast gravy train. Hopefully, there's more winners to come. George Gorman, Andy Newton, Peter Michael with me as always on a Thursday. We're going to start with the feature race as the confusing sprint division kicks on to the 6th Group 1 of the season. 7 of the last 10 winners of the Sprint Cup at Haydock were drawn in stalls 4 to 8. 14 of the last 20 ran at a Group 1 of the previous start, but I don't know if that actually counts anymore because we've got horses in the low 100s and high 90s winning group race sprints. So whether or not previous Group 1 experience really matters in this division is another matter entirely. Your favourite is Lazzat. He was a really good winner of the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes, but he comes into this on the back of a defeat last time out. Maybe that form would actually be good enough to win this race, such as this division. Time for Sandals, really impressive in the Commonwealth Cup. She ran really well under a penalty at Goodwood last time out. George Gorman, what are your thoughts on the Sprint Cup?
They're calling it good at Haydock at the minute. They must be due more rain, I think, because I can't believe, with the rain we've had down here. But anyway, if it were to turn soft, kind of blue would have interested me, but like I said, it seems to be staying good. Maybe that's one to keep up your sleeve for Ascot at the end of the season. I'm with Sky Majesty as well. A two-time Group 3 winner, Group 2 winner. I think that was on, the Group 2 win at Chantilly was on heavy ground. So if any more rain did arrive, at least you'd handle that. But run his career best on the last 2 starts. I think it's a poor sprinting division. And I think backing the improver is probably the way to go because he doesn't have that much to find on ratings at all. And at 10-1, you can sort of back him each way with the extra places. And if he gets touched off, you'll at least get your money back. But I'm with Sky Majesty.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Adam was absolutely all over the horse as well. She's bred to be a really good sprinter, being by Blue Point out of Magic Alexander. So there's high-class handicap form in that pedigree as well. But obviously Blue Point was a fantastic sprinter. And she's 2 from 2, and she ran in the Commonwealth Cup and didn't have an ideal preparation for it, and she was only beaten 5.5 lengths. So there's an awful lot to like about Sky Majesty, but there's an awful lot to like about a lot of the horses in this race, Andy. That's the problem. So who do you like?
There is, yeah. I mean, it's going to be one of those, like, it could just come Sunday or Saturday night and go, well, Lazzat was, so 120 rated, the best rated in the field, and it's 2-1. I think that's probably sort of about right, maybe a tad skinny for me in a race like this, with considering the the unpredictability of this whole sprint division at the moment. So I'm not sure, and I just think that last race might have been a bit of an indication that the Ascot win took a bit out of it personally, and I just think that maybe it's left its mark. We shall see. But, I certainly wouldn't put you off Lazzat, but I just can't have it at 2-1 personally. So look, I think last year I put up Kind of Blue, and I think I might have even napped it. I can't remember. And it got chinned, didn't it? Just on the line in this. It's back for more. It's a little bit of a shame it's been backed because, it was more like sort of 14s a few days ago. It might have been a bit bigger than that. We know Fanshawe likes this race. He's won it a couple of times. And I just think that, over in France, there was an excuse, fluff the start. Newcastle probably didn't suit on the all-weather. Last time, massive step forward. All right, it wasn't the greatest race at the Curragh, but third, massive step forward. Yes, like George said, it might be sort of all roads lead to Ascot, Champions Day and so on. But, as one on good to firm, it's one on soft. So I'm happy with that. And I do like Sky Majesty as well, for the reasons being, look, Haggis won this last year with a bit of an outsider. It was supplemented for the race. We got to talk about, why more Thunder's not running in this race. Maybe it's because, Haggis thinks he's got one here, and the fact they've supplemented it, she's only lost once on the turf. As you mentioned, that was at, in the Ascot and the Commonwealth. Ground was probably a bit lively that day. Axon all going, it's the improver. And I just think, it's come out of Ascot, won twice over in Ireland, and, more to come. It's quite a quick time, I think, over there as well. So, look, I'm quite happy just to go Kind of Blue and sort of Sky Majesty against Lazzat, personally.
Okay, Kind of Blue, who was second in the race a year ago, then went on to win the champion sprint. Can he go one better? And in his pedigree is a previous winner of this race as well. Peter Michael, who are you with?
Not really a race, to be honest. I mean, we all know what's been going on with these type of races, so it's hard to have enthusiasm trying to study it. But I do like Time for Sandals. I've been a fan of that horse from the first run of its life, and I kicked myself actually for not backing it, Royal Ascot, and tipping it. I think she's open to more progression. She needs things to drop right for her, so that's obviously a worry when you're running in a group of 1 6 furlong sprint. But that's who I'll go with. Lazzat obviously has the form of the Ascot win, stands out, but 2 to 1's too short given the nature of these type of races all season. So I'll put Time for Sandals each way at 8. Well, are they paying first 4 in this?
There are bookmakers who are paying it.
Yeah, no, I'd probably just put them win. I wouldn't put them each way. No.
It's not a handicap, Peter.
No, but sometimes they do pay the first 4 with these amount of runners.
Nothing wrong with trying to sneak a little bit of extra value for yourself.
Yeah, no, well, in saying that, to be honest, at 8 to 1 in this type of race, I'll probably just back her win and take a chance, because if she doesn't get a clear run, she might get stuck behind traffic.
Which is fair. The 2 horses that I put up on Tuesday with Adam Mills were Inisherin and James's Delight. I see no reason to desert either one of them. If the rain does come, that's going to be in James's Delight favour. The reason they've kept him off the track is they want to stay away from good to firm ground. I'm not going to say Clive Cox is in form. 4 winners from 25 at the time of recording is not necessarily in form, but he did win the big race last weekend. That's the last time he had a runner on the track, which is a little bit eyebrow raising, but a bit of spirit won in these silks last weekend. The form with Lethal Levi versus Patilio and My Mate Alfie has all been boosted from that win at the Curragh. I thought he did it really well that day. He was a horse I liked a lot last year. He was one I was excited about this season. I'm going to hope that he's going to be able to really come forward. And at 33 to 1, I kind of thought he might be a little bit shorter. He's not. But I can see him closing up closer to the day. So 33 to 1 about him, I quite like. And if there's any juice in the ground, more so than we already have, that's very much in his favour. And the other one that I'm going to go with is the other horse I've backed, and that's Inisherin, who has kind of been backed 18 to 1 into 16 to 1. He was 5 to 2 favourite for this race a year ago when he was beaten 8.5 lengths. He was sent off 11 to 8 favourite for last year's July Cup when again he disappointed. He was no match for Lazzat last time out behind Sagir at Deauville. That day he was tried in first time cheek pieces and a tongue tie. That would suggest this is a horse that has not been easy to train. He's had many issues. But they sent him off 3 to 1 second favourite for the Queen Elizabeth II Jubilee Stakes. Was he favourite for that race actually? Or was Satano Rev sent off favourite? I think Satano Rev went off favourite, didn't he? And all the money was coming. Yeah, Satano Rev was 2 to 1 favourite. He was the 3 to 1 second favourite. They keep coming for this fella in Group 1s. He obviously has the talent to win one of these races. And this is a race that Kevin Ryan has won twice since 2018 and had 2 runner-up finishes in as well. If there's a race that this horse is going to show its best in, it's this one. And with no Ryan Moore on board, with all due respect to Tom Eves, that's a good thing for us because you're not quite getting all the modelling data saying, pile into this Ryan Moore horse. I think he has the ability to win a Group 1. I'm hoping this is the day. It's a wide open division. Lazzat's the one they all have to beat, but I have no interest in taking 15 to 8 about any Group 1 sprinter or any group sprinter in any race this season. We'll switch to the 115 at Haydock. We're going to go back where Make Me King is the 3 to 1 favourite for the Superior Mile Stakes, the Group 3. Ice Max, it was very, very unlucky at Goodwood the other day. The ground was a little bit too firm for him in the first place, and secondly, he got absolutely no run whatsoever. He's the 7 to 2 second favourite in Prague, who was second in this race a year ago, for our close personal friend Dylan Cunaha, who hopefully will be flying us to Dubai someday soon when we land one of these big lucky 63s at 9 to 2 shot. George Gorman, who do you like in the Superior Mile?
Yeah, again, it's dependent on sort of the weather forecast. I do like Make Me King's chances here. He's second best in at the weights behind Sweet Française. Career best of RPR of 116 came when beating Top Gear in the Group 3 pre-Quincy at Deauville, and that came on very soft. So again, I like to just have it baked into them. The amount of rain we've had down here, if they do get any more up there, I like to at least know that they'll handle it if it does arrive there. sort of my concern with Sweet Francaise is if it did come soft side of good. We've not seen that horse tackle anything like that yet. But online through Make Me King, I've chucked one in, an each way one here, be check and challenge. He's got £4 fine with Make Me King on ratings and 2.5 lengths on their Pontefract meeting 2 starts back. But he was uncharacteristically quite slowly away that time. And the fact that he's a listed winner on heavy ground would mean, again, if the rain comes, he'll be all right. But I think the fact that he blew the start there to me at Pontefract, he was only 2.5 lengths behind, I think gives him an each way chance, certainly a chance of getting very close to the favourite. I think 14-1 is far too big.
Okay. Andy Newton, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not sure what the weather is doing. I think tomorrow might be a bit iffy at Haydock, but I've got a feeling I look and it might be all right on Saturday, and so we'll have to see what they get. Yeah, Cole Berg's obviously won this last year. Ice Max, that will probably want the rain, so we'll see if that comes. I hope Prague goes all right for Dylan as well. That has sort of been knocking on the door, and it's probably he's down in grade a little bit here. Sweet Francais was one that George, I think, maybe Pete put up last time, and it won well. Obviously here at Haydock, you did, yeah, and it was a good old tip from I think it was out in the front or whatever. But
it was a big price that day.
It was a nice race. It was a good pick. That was a listed race. It's up to Group 3 here, but it won by 2 lengths. Only course and distance winner in the field. So I think that is certainly one for the shortlist. The other sort of stats, look, 4 of the last 7, I think, have come from stall 2, which is a bit of a weird one, and that's that Snowmaster, that Tom Dascombe horse, which was impressive last time at Yarmouth. Won its only other race at Yarmouth, but it's worth pointing out there was like over a year between them, so it's had a year out for some reason, but it did come back. It was quite impressive that day. Has been backed a tad as well, that Snowmaster, and it's got that, plum draw as well. I mean, like 9 of the last 12 have been 4 or lower, drawn 4 or lower. So, you've got Prague in there, that excellent Believe. And the other one is that Fear Not, Clive Cox, another Clive Cox one. It sort of bombed out last time out at York, but it did have to race a bit wide that day. Won well at Ascot before that, beat Bullet Point. If it can bounce back, which it has done a couple of times already this season, if you look at its form figures, that might be a bit overpriced as well. That Fear Not, but that and that Sweet Francais for me, I think. Yeah,
okay,
tricky race.
Yeah, it is a tricky race. Peter, for you?
Yeah, I mean, I like the horse Andy mentioned, Snowmaster. The year gap, obviously, something. I think I read a quote from this jockey that he had niggly problems, but he was mightily impressive on debut. I think he missed a kick and he just put the race to bed. Let me just bring up my notes on him here. I think he put the race to bed quite quickly. Hold on a second. Yeah, he showed a very smart turn of foot when he put the race to bed quickly on his debut. And then when he came back this year, he went from the front and again looked a good horse and hit the line well and quickened well. Now, the form obviously isn't anywhere near as good as what the likes of Ice Max has achieved or Make Me King and those horses, but there is substance to Snowmaster's form, without a doubt, and he has potential to be a very good horse. And Tom Dascombe is due a good horse, so yeah, I definitely would be backing him. I think he's around 9-10-1. I definitely wouldn't be letting him run now at that price without a bet, because I think he could be a pretty good animal. But the other unbeaten horse is Zeus Olympius, Carl Burke, who also is the favourite. He's won 2 from 2 as well, and he's been impressive. I think against these type of horses, he possibly needs 10 furlongs, but I wouldn't rule him out either, because he's also got untapped potential. And I know he didn't win a great race first time out, but he sent off 2-7. And the horse in second, I think, was rated. What was the horse in second rated? 78.
Yeah, but that horse in second, that Due West, they got turned over at odds on in the week, didn't it? I think. But
no, Chemical was second in Kempton.
Third won a handicap off.
No, I'm talking about his debut, lads, when he was sent off 2-7 against a 78 rated horse. I mean, to be sent off 2-7 against a horse rated 78. Now, Chemical had ran loads of times and he was no world beater and probably a false rating. But still, 2-7 is fairly short to be sent off. So he must have been working very, very well. Yeah, look, I think he'll need longer against these type of horses. But at 16-1, I'd be willing to lose 20 quid or tenner on him to find that out. But yeah, for me here, definitely Snowmaster. I like him. Sud Francais, we picked him the last time, and he did the business first, but he'll have a bit of competition, I think, today for the lead. So yeah, Snowmaster for me here, and something small in the other Zeus Olympius, but I think he'll probably need longer. But I do like Snowmaster. I think he'll be a pretty classy horse.
Snowmaster's dam is a sister to 3 Group 1 winners. She was unraced herself. There's a Group 2 winner in America in that pedigree as well. So that's a horse that could be taking a big step forward, and he's only had the 2 starts so far. Zeus Olympus for me, with Peter as well. Bare form is nothing to be excited about, but he's unbeaten in 2 starts. The time of his Kempton debut win in January was pretty ordinary, but he clocked the final 2 furlongs in 22.6 seconds and then 22.86 seconds at Thurks, despite the fact that he was very green. He was a little bit awkward, but he wasn't fully extended to win those races. He's bred to improve. He should be improving. His dam won on debut over 7 furlongs at Haydock. That was on good to firm ground. If it was to get really soft, that might be a bit of a concern, but he'd probably come out.
I don't think there's much rain forecast anymore, lads. I think it's going to be good ground.
I don't think they can tell us what the weather's going to be in an hour, let alone what it's going to be in a couple of days. Like, the forecast during the week was, it's going to be rain. It's going to be shocking rain all week, and then that suddenly just disappeared. So I don't know what to make of that. The 4th horse from his second win won a handicap of 67 on Monday night. Mad drifter as well, by the way. 6-1 out to 18-1. Managed to win. The 3rd horse that you were talking about, Peter, from debut won a handicap of 66. Again, the form's not great, but it's the visual impression of what he's done. And the fact that they're putting him into this race makes him very, very interesting, especially when Carl Burke won the race a year ago. So Zeus Olympus for me. The most obvious one is clearly Ice Max. I'd be pretty confident he'll turn the form around with Make Me King. He got no run at all at Goodwood. It was a complete disaster. And Carl Burke was saying they desperately needed to get a run into him. That was a race he'd won the year before. I think they really just ran him on ground that wasn't suitable because they needed to get him ready for something like this. And so he's very, very interesting. He is the most likely winner, but he's 7-2. The stable companion is 16-1, and he gets Buick for the first time. So I'll take Zeus Olympus, but mad respect, as the kids would say. Do they say that anymore? I don't know about Ice Max. To Kempton. Gee, I wonder who's going to win the September Stakes. Could it be for the 2nd year in a row for Kalpana, a horse that we were raving about? Well, somebody on the podcast was very confident that she would win this race a year ago, and then she was backed as though defeat was out of the question. Happy days. That was kind of the first indication we got that, you're going to be a really, really good horse. This is her final preparation for the Arc. She won it a year ago. It's the race Enable used to prep for. She won't have it all her own win against Givalotto, though, George.
No, exactly. That was my thinking. Like, you actually look at the race last year. Like, she was well back. She was Evans' favourite. Yeah, the second favourite, Dwelt start. Hamish was joint second favourite, taken down early, mounted and shoot towards rear, outpaced from 2 out. It's held up in last. Dwelt start. It sounds like everything tried to not win this race. Do you know what I mean? This year it's a lot tougher, and Giavellotto on official ratings only got £2 to find. Honestly, for me, it's just at the prices. She's priced up like she's got no opposition, and she has in Giavellotto. In terms of the track, Giavellotto, his first 2 career starts came on the all-weather, and he won both, including over a mile 3 at Kempton. So should handle the track as well. It's purely a price thing, but I would have a small bet on second favourite, a very small bet. Just because I just think Kalpana's far too short there. She might well go and win, but I think she's priced up like she's got nothing to beat, and I think she has got something to beat. Yeah,
I agree with you. I was never the biggest fan of Givalotto, and I remember interviewing Oisin Murphy on the Final Furlong podcast a year ago, whatever the year it was that he won the Hong Kong Vase. Like, he was adamant that coming back in Trip was going to be the big thing for him, and that he was a really, really good horse. And you can be absolutely certain that there are people throwing rides at multiple champion jockey Oisin Murphy this weekend, and yet he goes to Kempton to ride a horse that, according to the betting, has no chance of winning the race. I know he's going to want to ride him in Group 1s internationally for the rest of the season, but I'm pretty certain if he didn't ride, they wouldn't mind. But he is going to Kempton, Andy, and that's interesting. For all that Kalpana has an obvious chance, Givalotto's an intriguing one.
Yeah, unbeaten on the all-weather as well, 2 from 2. But they did come, on its first 2 runs. One was here at Kempton, the other one was at Newcastle. So over slightly shorter trips, but. Yeah, I mean, we know the track and the surface are going to suit, and like George said, I mean, it's rated 120. Kalpana's 122. It's getting £3. Kalpana, so there's not a lot in it really. Murphy's going to have a lot more experience riding at Kempton on the weather than Colin Keane. Something else to factor in there probably. But what's Kalpana, 6-1 favourite for the Arc? That's just going to be bubble burst if it loses here, isn't it? So. You know, it's been freshened up after the King George 42 days off. And yes, I do agree. The bet, look, I think Kalpana's the obvious one. It goes without saying. The betting is tad wrong, like you pointed out. It should be probably more like 4 to 5, 2 to 1, maybe with the first two, and then it's, you know, it'll be monster shock if anything else can get in there. But I still side with Kalpana. But yeah, the betting's wrong.
Peter,
the first thing I'll say is, how the fuck is Kalpana favourite for the Arc? Jesus,
5 to 1.
How she now? I'm not, like, she's a good horse. She's a very good horse. But how is she 5 to 1 for the Arc?
It's just a blind assumption that she's going to do what Blue Stocking did a year ago. That's what it is.
Well, like, 5 to 1 for the Arc, and she hasn't even won a race this season. Bloody hell! I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, look, she should win this. She should have a bit too much toe for Gia Velato, but you know, there's not much. Like, I wouldn't be backing her 4 to 7, you know, but I wouldn't be laying her either. I'd just let the race go. Yeah, and Gia Velato might be. Obviously, I presume this is probably teeing him up for something else as well. Yeah, so look, Kalpana, don't need me to tell you, at 4 to 7, the most likely winner, but I still don't know how she's 5 to 1 favourite for the Arc.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I can't disagree with you on it. It's a puzzle to me as well. I'm not entirely certain.
She doesn't even won a race this season yet. She's 5 to 1 favourite for the Arc.
Yeah.
I mean, do you remember last year when you put it up, Emmet? I mean, it was. I think I might have mentioned it as well, but it was. When we did the podcast, Kalpana, this is. I mean, it was like, what price was it? 4?
Yeah. I remember. I went against her that day, and you lads were really. That was against Lions Pride.
It was against Lions Pride. I have a feeling she was 11 to 4.
She was 11 to 4. I remember. Yeah.
I thought, there's got to be a non-runner or something. Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
They know.
I think the word probably got out, if I remember rightly. Lions Pride hadn't ran for ages, so probably they knew just needed to run.
To be fair to her, the word was probably out that this is a Group 1 horse. And she's going to win the filly and mares race. So just get stuck into her now. She's going to go and she's going to destroy this lot. And she'd been really good at Hamilton. She'd been backed as though defeat was out of the question at Hamilton as well in that listed race. But this is a much stronger race. And Oisin Murphy's going to go ride a horse that's got absolute claims. So it's a race to sit back and watch. If she goes and wins, great. Fantastic. And if you've backed her for the Arc at 5 to 1, then you're even happier. You can be certain they'll gut her again to 3s.
Cash out, get rid of your bet 3 to 1. Jesus, if she wins.
They'll cut her to 3. They might go 3 to. I'm going to guess 3 to 1. Over under on her price for the Arc, no, irrespective of how she wins it.
That would be even a worse bet than betting Delacroix to beat Ombudsman.
Yeah, because by the time it comes to race day, it's 5 to 1 the field.
Yeah, she. I'm going to tell you now, she was not going to win the Arc. No chance.
I think it's worth mentioning as well. Obviously, like, Murphy was on Kalpana in the King George as well, wasn't it? So, yeah. So with Colin Keane out, so you know that experience riding the main rival here, might something to just think about, because you know he's might know a weakness or not a weakness. Do you know what I mean? It's just something to think about. He rode at the Curragh as well, I think, and.
We will never talk you out of a winner. If you like her and you want to put her in your multiples and you think that it's just buying money and she can't get beaten, we're not talking you out of it. But this is a harder race than it looks. To
be honest, she'll win in my book, but I just can't back her 4 to 7. But I think she'll win. But I just can't see 5 to 1 for the Arc.
Well, the bookmakers are essentially telling you the publish is a good thing, as they were telling you publish is a good thing last week as well. We were all very keen to take him on. What's the team's response going to be this week for the Ascendant Stakes, the listed race? He's going to go to Haydock, assuming he runs. Ground conditions had him ruled out last week. I was very keen to take him on, and I'm very keen to take him on again. He's 5 to 4. Obviously, Buick is going to be on board because Colin Keane is going to be at Kempton. Bo Echo, Adam Mills was telling me all the right faces, to use one of those cliched bookmaker terms, we're ringing him going, get stuck into this fella for the guineas. What price can we get for this fella for the guineas? Can we get a price on him for the Dewhurst now? That's how impressive he was, and all the data and all the sectionals and the time and catching pigeons on the gallops and all that stuff. They were losing their minds about this horse on debut. He's 2 to 1. It makes sense. Midnight Tango's got decent form to her name, 9 to 1 shot. Got a couple of interesting ones. Sham looked a little bit awkward in the finish, but a good winner first time out. Glacius was a real good winner first time out. He's a 14 to 1 shot, and he's Whalen is going to double up, or at least try and go again after being put in his place by a bit of spirit last week. But it's pretty interesting that they turn him out again pretty quickly. and he's 18-1 for this race, having been well fancied as a 6-1 shot only a week ago. George Gorman, is Publish a bet at 5-4?
Well, I'm in a bit of a spot with this race. I was already take on Publish last week, so I can't very well tell anyone to back the horse at 6-4 this week. As for Bo Echo, it might well be the class horse in this race, like, especially with everything you've just said there, Adam said, but backing a horse on reputation at 9-4 isn't really me. Midnight Tango, I can't see how she's going to get the mile pulling the way that she does. And also tendency, I think she swerved right and left out of the stalls so far this season. Actually might have helped her a bit the last day, sort of helped her get the trip because she didn't get a chance to pull. She was so far out of her ground. But it's not a race I'm looking to get massively stuck into, but I do think the James Tate horse is overpriced. He's William, looked a bit of a superstar on debut. Maybe a step straight up into Grade 3 company 2 weeks after making his debut was a bit too much of an ask. The fact that the horse is out again just a week later, though, is interesting. Seems like whatever the problem is, they think they've got it sorted, or he's come out of the race bucking and kicking. But interestingly for him, he's got 4 winning brothers, 4 winning siblings even, and they all won a mile or further, including Almadar, who was third in that race in Maidan, the Dubai Gold Cup over 2 miles. It's from a family of stayers, so it could just be the case that quality got him through on debut, and then just up into a Group 3, a bit of a lack of pace was exposed. So up in trip here, you should expect to see a big step forward from him, especially being by 2 darn hot, it seems to produce mostly milers. But at the price, I'll be inclined to have a small each way bet on him. Maybe even quarter of the stake win, 3/4 of the stake place only with a dead 8. It's in your favour if there is the dead 8 runners, it's in your favour to have an each way bet at a decent price in terms of runners versus places you need to get. But that'd be my way of playing this. Neither of the top 2 in the market, they're very good horses. At the prices, neither of them appeal to me.
Okay, Glacius for me. Dam is a full sister to the Oaks winner qualify. Had Pacific Appear, who beat Publish on debut, in behind when making a winning debut at Newmarket. The second hasn't run since, but he's entered in the Royal Lodge for Godolphin. The Joker, who was beaten 5.5 lengths by Publish on debut, was having his second start when taking on Glacius. He improved, but he was no match for the Hugo Palmer horse. He was 3.5 lengths behind him. I really like the fact that he beat experienced rivals on just his first run. And what I find very, very interesting is, number one, Neil Callan's back on board for the second start. And secondly, the connections we're talking about taking it real soft with this horse. They were going to go for a novice. And yet they're going to go for a listed race against a really hyped up horse in Publish and another hyped up horse from the George Bowie yard. We're getting 14-1 about him with a pedigree that suggests this is a horse who's going to improve. So 14-1 Glacius is the one I'm going to go with. Andy, for you?
That's interesting at Glacius as well. It's got the hot stall in stall 3. 3 of the last 4 have come out of stall 3, Emmet. So that's a big old plus for the Hugo Palmer one.
Let's go!
And like you say, the Joker ran all right last week at Sandown, the horse in behind it. So, and then the other one's got a sort of similar profile. That Shayham, the Carl Burke one, the second in the race that it won on debut has lost since, but the third has come out. What's the plan? So might be something there. Course winner, the only one in the field. Yeah, look, and going back to Publish. I mean, there's a bit of a stat. 8 of the last 10 were foaled, right, in February or March. That's a January fold, but obviously it's a tiny bit older than some of these other 2-year-olds. So you think, well, it might be a bit further forward. But for whatever reason, 8 of the last 10 have been February or March folds in this. And look, we're all against it last week. I think we've got to stick with it. Otherwise, we're going to look a bit silly here. And I don't know. I mean, look, it's 16-1 for the Guineas. Bo Echo's only a little bit bigger at 20s. And, that was impressive last time. The fact that it's been backed, I mean, it was 3 or 4s the other day. It's coming into almost 2s. It might even go off favourite. You never know, this Bo Echo, the way it's going. It's not a million miles off Publish's price at the moment. I'm seeing, some 6-4, 13-8 for Publish. The second in that Bo Echo race, and bearing in mind it won by 4.5 lengths at Newbury. a horse called Be the Standard has come out and won again since as well. So, there is some substance to that form. So, as George said, Midnight Tango, too exposed, can't have that. Will it get home? Quite happy with Bo Echo of the top two. And, that Glacius with the hot stall, I think, is one of the, if you want 20-1 shot, definitely.
I mean, I've watched back Publish, I don't know how many times in preparation for last week's race. And great. You're telling me he's the next big superstar. He's Field of Gold 2.0. Okay. I'd like to see that.
It's just the drifts of, why again? Why is it 6-4, 7-4? It's just, I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, can I go?
Yeah.
Is it my turn? Okay. Yeah, I agree with you, lads. Look, you have to respect the horse. He's got potential, but his form, there's holes in his form, left, right, and centre. That's not the horse's fault. He can only beat what's put in front of him. But I mean, I wouldn't be having him at that price. I wouldn't have him last week, and I wouldn't have him this week either. And I think Andy's right. I think Bo Echo will go off favourite here. He was mightily impressive first time. I think he will. From what I've seen anyway, he's going to leave. I mean, I don't like packing horses in their second run of their lives. I rarely do, because I've learned by losing in the past that on the flat, that is, horses can regress mentally after their first run. Just things can go wrong for them. But, when you're talking about potential group, top class horses, I do, I would have a bet. And even the odd time without talking about potential top class horses, I would have a bet second time out. I like this horse a lot. Jesus, he was impressive. I mean, he missed a kick and he was just shaken up and he just took off, and Billy didn't even move in the horse. There was a lot left, I think, in the tank, and he won by 4.5 lengths. As Andy said, Be the Standards come out and won after that. I think he'll go a favourite for this, if I'm being honest. I mean, I think the closer it gets to the race, the more the form students will pick holes and Publish, and the more they'll see that this horse is extremely impressive. And I can see them flip-flopping. I can see them going off around 7-4, 13-8, and Publish going off around 15-8, 2-1. Two other horses I'd mention that you guys haven't mentioned. Tail Gunner Joe, I think, could run well for Dylan Kuna.
Yeah.
Ran a nice race at Ascot and debut, which obviously is a hard place for a horse to make his debut, and actually at one stage looked to have a chance. And obviously Dylan probably wouldn't be throwing a horse with absolutely no hope in a race like that in debut. And then won well last time. Okay, it wasn't a great race. It was Catrick Maiden. Won well, but the reason why I'd have to be interested in him for a place is because I think he won with a good bit left. But look, I don't think he's up to this class to win, but it wouldn't surprise me. And the outsider of the field, I think, will definitely outrun his odds. Again, probably not good enough to win, doesn't have the pace. But, you're probably going to get him 4 or 5-1 to come in the top 3. And I guarantee you he'll be in the top 5. Bourbon Blues. So I'd say that would be a bit of value to be placed. But, for me, this is about Bo Echo. I think he'll be Publish, and Tail Gunner Joe and Bourbon Blues, one of them could sneak third.
Okay.
You'll just say on Tail Gunner Joe as well, you got Carl Stridham on board there as well, who's he was based with David Manouzier. He moved up to James Fanshaw's this season. He's having his best season since arriving in Great Britain. He's South African jockey. And he's actually very, very talented. And since moving up there and linking up with Fanshawe and Dylan Kuna, he's sort of going from strength to strength. I think he's had 2 winners in the last sort of 10 days or so as well. Like he's an informed jockey, and he's worth sort of following now. He's getting a bit more talent to ride now that he's up in Newmarket. So it's just a jockey worth watching.
Okay, keep him in mind. We'll go to the 205 Kempton. Actually, Peter, we're going to stay with you. This is the London Mile Series final handicap, so it's for qualified horses only. The favourite is Oisin Murphy and James Fanshawe with Sky Safari. Good winner of the last day for Mary Slack. Is the horse going to be winning again, though?
Yeah, I think, hold on, I'll just bring her up. I think she's unbeaten on the all-weather, am I right? I think she's 3 for 3.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, she's the one to beat. It is an open race, and she would be the one I'd be putting forward here, but I wouldn't be, I wouldn't be mad about her, but I think she is the one to beat. I wouldn't be surprised if she got beaten, but I would think she's the most likely winner. Nothing else really stands out in this race to me. A few of the lads are telling me Sir Paul Ramsey should have won last time. I didn't get to see the race, to be honest, but I don't think he's ever ran on the all-weather, so he's got that to prove. Hold on, I just see. Yeah, he's never ran out. Yeah, look, I don't have a big opinion on this race, but I do respect Sky Safari, Oisin Murphy, James Fanshawe, unbeaten on the all-weather, and I like some horses are just a good bit better on the all-weather. Now, in saying that, this horse ran a good race. Well, a few good races on the turf, I think. No, one good race that I can see here. But yeah, she seems a better filly in the all-weather, and yeah, I'd stick on her side, but for small stakes.
I think just quickly in here, I haven't got a firm pin on it, but it's worth pointing out that you've got last 2 years winners in there. So that Whitcomb Rockstar took it last year, and Helm Rock. And Helm Rock could be interesting. One last time out, has had a wind up. When it won this in 2023, it's off 94. It's only off 83 now.
Yeah.
And they've got a class on. And obviously last year's winner, the old Rockstar, loves Kempton. It's got one here about 5 times or something. But they're massive prices. So 2 horses that have won the race before.
Yeah, first run after a wind up for Helm Rock as well. And for friends of the show, Daniel and Claire Kubler, who sadly are going to be leaving British Racing, which it's great for them. It's a very exciting thing for them to be working for the training for royalty in Bahrain, but it's a real shame that British Racing is losing that talent. But we wish them well, and hopefully we'll get to talk to them before they make that journey. Hopefully we can fly out to them and sample some of the royal hospitality in the Kingdom of Bahrain. The Plays Different League Handicap. Plays in a different league handicap. George Gorman, Andy Newton, Peter Michael in a different league. As we previewed the 225 at Haydock, Circus of Rome. Good winner the last day on the all-weather at Newcastle. 7-2 favourite for Richard Hughes. Valiancy and first-time cheek pieces for William Haggis and Safi Osborne. 7-2. Grand Descans, a 5-1 shot. Gets William Buick for the first time. Fantasy World, PJ McDonald, Andrew Balding. That's a team that's been doing really well. And there's personal friend of the show, Polestar, who's done a few favours here and there a couple of times in the podcast. 8-1. George, who are you with?
Do you mind if I do mine from Kempton quickly first?
Oh, yeah, good. Do you want to... I didn't know you had one.
George had his hand up and everything.
Apologies, George. I'm so sorry. What a terrible presenter to not notice that. Apologies.
No, you're right. It was the other race at Kempton that I didn't have anything for. It's just very quickly. Dragon Icon was beaten a neck off £4 higher back in December. Only beaten 3/4 length off this mark last time. Where's first time sheet pieces here sort of suggest this has been the goal and could squeeze out the little bit extra that's needed. And then, as Andy mentioned, Helm Rock won this off £11 higher 2 years ago. Didn't run poorly off £3 higher last year. I think he was about 7th or 8th, but he was beaten like 3 or 4 lengths. I think the fact that they sent him off for wind surgery as soon as he qualified for this showed real intent that this was the target once again. So those would be my pair for the London Mile at Kempton. As for Haydock, Grand Descans gets a £9 swing at the weights for Circus of Rome since their racing league meeting at Newcastle. He stayed on very well from well off the pace that day, and I think that was a huge step forward in RPRs on his previous efforts. He's very unexposed, should improve for the trip, and hopefully over this sort of a trip he'll be able to sit a bit handier. Like he was never going to get to Circus of Rome the last day. Like he sort of blew the race to bits from the front, 2 furlongs out, Circus of Rome. Whereas Grand Descan still had more than half the field in front of him at that point. At a slightly bigger price, Winston Jr. has been keeping on very well over slightly shorter trips, most eye-catchingly so when second over a mile 5 at Down Royal 3 starts back. That's the longest trip he had tackled thus far. He's been second over a mile 4 the last twice when sort of trying to force the pace and getting caught late on. I think the step up in trip should see that he's not going to have to be ridden as aggressively now. And the jockey's claim sees him run off £2 lower than when beaten 3/4 of the length last time. So he's very interesting at a bigger price.
Okay.
Is he any relation, the jockey, Emmet?
No.
No? I don't know anything about this guy, but he has been him a couple of times, actually, isn't he? So.
It's a good name for a horse by Churchill, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, for sure.
Winston Jr.
Does but no, he's not a relation. Hey, I'll happily claim him. Kate was on the podcast and she tipped a horse for a bumper that went off 20-1, and this fellow was on board, and the horse goes and wins. So we've been big fans of him ever since. And if he goes and wins now, I've got a cat named Winston, so even better if he goes and wins.
Well, as a son.
He's made a few cameos on the podcast here and there. He jumps up every now and again.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, making appearances here and there. Okay. Anybody else have anything for this race?
I'm sort of with George as well. I do like, funny enough, that Winston Jr. I just think the other thing to bear in mind, the horse that came fourth in his last race, that Racing League race, Miss Dolly Rocker, I think it was called, that won in the week. So form franked in that last race. And the other one that I thought was interesting was Way of Stars. Andrew Borden's got quite a good record on this one. 2 of the last 9. Stall 8 is okay. I know this is a mile 6 race, but it's weird that 9 of the last 10 winners have come between 4 and 8 for some weird reason. And look, it's got form linked in with that Polestar, but it's about £6 better off. I think that race might have come a bit too soon last time after bolting up at Goodwood, so that's way overpriced. Way of Stars.
Well, he's got form of many men as well, and we saw the big gamble on him the last day at York, so I was interested in him too. I thought Winston Jr. was interesting. I thought Valiancy was the one that was probably most likely to win. He looks like a bit of a grinder. Maybe the all-weather would suit him. First time cheek pieces. He gets Safi Osborne for the first time, but he's short enough in the betting. So,
do you think the jockey booking's a bit weird with that? Because, I mean, would Marquand not have the pick? I know it's a Waffman horse, but I don't know, because but then he's on the Way of Stars. I don't know. It's just something to throw out there, because obviously the favourite is Haggis. But anyway,
yeah, I'm guessing.
I agree. Sorry, go ahead, Em.
No, go on, Peter.
Yeah, no, I was going to say I agree, because I have an opinion on it. I agree with George about Grand Discans. I liked his win at Doncaster. I thought he battled it out well. I fancied him at Newcastle, and I tipped him up. Obviously, it was first run on the all-weather, so that was a bit of an unknown, but I couldn't believe he was ridden the way he was, because to me, he's all about stamina. And I was actually surprised the way he made up his ground turning in, because I didn't think he could do that. I didn't think he had the change of gears that he showed. And I still think, well, I don't think, I know he's a stayer, he's a plotter. So he's definitely going to improve for this 2 furlongs more. And I think he could be better on the turf, whereas Circus of Rome, who hammered him, and there was a lot of money for Circus of Rome that day, he possibly is an all-weather horse. He's ran a few times on the turf, and he hasn't done much. And he's ran in a couple of, he's ran 3 runs ago. He ran in a, I think, £52,000 race. So it's not as if he wasn't trying. He was trying. The favourite, you have to respect him. But, I see no reason why he should be shorter than Grand Scans. And Polestar, you mentioned, he's a plotter. I'd like to see them ride him a bit more prominent, because he just keeps going at one pace. But I could give him a chance in this as well. So they're the 2 I'd be putting up here, Grand Scans and Polestar. But Grand Scans would definitely be my pick for good old William Buick.
Safi can do the weight of 8 stone 5. The lowest that Tom Marquand has done in the last 12 months is 8 stone 7. So that's why Safi would be on board. That horse. Okay, we'll switch to Ascot for the 7 furlong Schweppes handicap. Who's going to be sweeping into the lead? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. Native Warrior, 5-1 favourite for Jamie Spencer and Carl Burke. Do you want to be back in a 5-1 Jamie Spencer horse? Go on, Spencer, the baby-faced assassin. Arcadian Thunder, 97 now. Yeah, becoming tempting. For David Amara and Hector Crouch, 11-2. Strong Warrior, he's got that Commonwealth Cup form. That's almost enough for me. Richard Fahey, Jim Crowley, an 8-1 shot. That's very, very interesting. I've been waiting to see this horse out, but I've also been waiting to see Nostrum out. And he gets the headgear. He's a 40-1 shot, and that might be a little bit too tempting for me, despite the fact that he's carrying top weight on a handicap. George, for you?
Yeah, main one for me here is Great Acclaim. He hasn't had too many encounters with ground this soft. He's currently soft at Ascot. It may well dry out before then a little bit, but he was a winner on good soft 2 starts back. Only beaten by a very well handicapped horse last time out. I think going up just £1 could prove to be very lenient. One at a bigger price, with the jockey's claim, King's Lynn runs off £6 lower than when beaten ahead last time out. He's obviously, he's a winner on all sorts of ground because he's been around so long, but he is a winner on soft and has he's a winner on soft and multiple winner on good soft. We all know plenty of placings over this course and distance. Yet to win here, but has gone very, very close and could be finally King's Lynn's chance to get his head in front of Ascot. Unfortunately, not wearing the colours who it would have meant the most to anymore. But I just that £7 off. That jockey's, I don't know him, but if he's anyway any good, £6 lower than when beaten ahead last time out. Like he's surely got a place at least at a decent price. But Great Acclaim, the main selection.
Ides of March, John Quill, Arabian Dusk, Ain't Nobody, Sky Majesty, Big Mojo, Shadow of Light, Sayeda Darian, Arizona Blaze, all improved on RPRs for their next run. They may not have won, but they all improved significantly on RPRs. Strong Warrior, 8-1. He's getting short, but he's interesting with Jim Crowley on board. I don't know if I can resist the idea of a David O'Mara trained Nostrum bouncing back and continuing this profitable. Sir Michael Stout would bring his horses along to peak at the age of 4 and 5. Well, he's a 5-year-old. Now is the time, Andy Newton. He gets first-time tongue tie. Marco Ghiani, come on, son. Bring him home. 40-1. Let's go.
Well, we've got a couple of other David O'Mara ones in here, and we've got this one.
If you stop waffling, we might get some work done.
Tell you, wasn't waffling when he picked him at 25-1.
25-1.
Our old friend Darkness is back 2 weeks after, the 25-1.
And he bolted up, by the way.
That was the episode you were dressed up as the Fawns with Emmet, right?
Yeah. And you were dressed up as the jockey, mate. Yeah, we look good, you look bad, yeah? So that's fine.
And you looked even better after that 25-1 winner. Take a bow again, Andy Newton. Ridiculous. Yeah, are you with him again this weekend?
Well, look, I can't really desert him. I'm sort of am. He's up £6. My only niggle is that he's run a couple of times at Ascot before and been beaten. So that is the slight concern. Look, O'Meara's got another one in here called Sword, which sort of caught the eye. 4-year-olds have got a good record in this. Bombed out last time on your weather at Newcastle. Before that, I think it ran 7th at Chepstow. But you go back to its last run at Ascot and it came 3rd in that international, 3rd behind 2 Tribes. Ran on well that day if you watch that back. Obviously, 2 Tribes has come out and won the Stewards. So, if it's got some kind of, loving for Ascot or whatever, I don't know whether, the last 2 runs, they're just sort of trying to keep its mark down or whatever. But Sword definitely looks overpriced. Thunder Roar is better on the turf. Ignore its last run on the all-weather. Dougie Costello rides that one. I think that could go all right off the break. And the other interesting thing in this race, I think we might have had the winner last year. 7 of the last 10, right, have been ridden by a claimer. And you've only got 2 in here. King's Lynn, which has already been mentioned with that Alfie Redmond riding, claiming 7. And the only other claimer to ride is our old mate Warren Fenterman, who's having a cracking season. He's on that telemark. And look, 2 of the last 4, I think, have come from stall 5. He gets stall 5. Mentioned the claimer stat. He's got form linked in with that Native Warrior, who's the favourite. Better off at the weights this time. Yeah, I just think telemark is 14-1. So yeah, look, 14-1 telemark. I'm a little bit on Sword, and I can't desert me old mate Darkness. So it's one of those races where you can probably have 2 or 3 in it, sort of 16-1, 20-1. But yeah.
If you followed in Andy Newton and you got that 25-1 winner last week, if you followed in Andy Newton and you got the 7-2 Nap Sadat, if you followed me in and you got the 20-1 Chagrin and the Beverly Bullet, if you followed George in and you got the 16-1 about Yennefer at Chester, smash like and smash subscribe to the Final Furlong podcast on all good podcast apps and some rubbish ones as well, and on YouTube. Smash a like, smash subscribe, stay with us. Hopefully we've got more winners to come your way. Who do you think is going to be the winner, Peter Michael?
Well, I was impressed with Andy's horse the last time, Darkness. I mean, the way that horse finished, wow, that was serious. And Andy had mentioned before the race before that he was looking for room and he's a fast finisher. I think and he's got form and soft as well. So I'd definitely be putting him up. And also I have to put up a Cajun Thunder, but I was very disappointed with him the last time. Now I can forgive him Newmarket. Because he doesn't run well at that track, but he did lug a bit at Newmarket and he's lugged a bit again in Ascot. So there is a little bit of a question mark there, but I can't let that horse run. I mean, that run behind Never So Brave, I mean, that was so impressive what he did because he didn't have a gap for the whole race. When he got out, he chased home Never So Brave, who's gone on to win a Group 1. So so those would be the 2 I'd be going with in a wide open handicap: a Cajun Thunder and Darkness, and I might do a little reverse forecast.
Ooh, and Peter Michael's got a record of pulling off big forecast
Not
prices
lately,
as
though.
well. Yeah, it's going to be back
lately.
sooner rather than later, though, Peter Michael. The Old Borough Cup handicap over a mile and 6. The Reverend is favourite for this. He stretches out to a mile and 6 for the first time, 4-1 for William Haggis and Tom Marquand. The Tony Bloom Silks have been in the winners' enclosure left, right and centre. And he thinks they're going to be in the winners' enclosure with Sky Majesty. I think George is quite keen on her as well. And obviously that's the same for Adam Mills too. So maybe they'll be in the winners' enclosure first in the Old Borough Cup. A horse that I've been waiting for a while. Dancing in Paris, obviously an old favourite of the show. But first time blinkers for Align the Stars makes me very interested in him. He drops down to a mark of 94. He's been a little bit disappointing. He's been a little bit frustrating, but he's won over course and distance last year. He won a Goodwood handicap of a mark of 99 last year. And there have been a few runs this season that have been suggesting this is a horse who's going to come back to form and win sooner rather than later. At 20-1, I'll take a chance on him. George Gorman, who do you like?
Yeah, Align the Stars is interesting. The only thing with the blinkers going on is he did have a tendency to be quite keen in his younger days. He hasn't done it too much recently, but that's because he tends to blow the start more often than not. It just temper me a little bit how he's going to react to the blinkers. Like if they do the job, GC would be well handicapped, but would just worry me a small bit there. I'd be with Paddy the Squire here. Look, he's been on a roll all season pretty much on a slightly quicker surface than this so far, but even if the rain did come, if it doesn't come, he's had a pair of close-up placings and a win to his name on soft ground. He still looked well ahead of a handicapper last time. He's up £5, but being by Golden Horn out of a Galileo mare, step up in trips should improve him even further. And to be honest, even if he was running over the same trip again, I'll probably still be inclined to think he's ahead of the handicapper. So if a trip can improve him even more, he could still be well ahead of a handicapper. Another one, this one would be more if there was some more rain, but Contacto started the season with a couple of decent placings off £1 higher. He's since only run once and been taken out once due to ground that was too quick. His 2 career victories have come on soft ground, and if you could get anything like that here, he could be very well handicapped, judging on those 2 efforts at the start of the season on good and on the all-weather in the spring. If there was any small bit of good soft in it, I think he could be very well handicapped still.
Okay. Andy Newton?
Yeah, I'm with you with that Contacto, actually, George, I think. It came second. Well, there's 2, actually. Last year's, the previous race we just talked about, the winner was Master Builder. The second in that race was Contacto. And I think both of them here are probably worth a play, 12-1, 14-1, both of them. Master Builder won that race. It's down a couple of pounds for its last run at Goodwood. But you've got to remember that run at Goodwood last time out was his first run in, 2.5 months. So it probably needed it. Last year it had 9 stone 6 when it won. It's got a nice little 8 stone 13 this time. William Buick rides, course and distance winner, and Contacto is only £1 lower than last year. It was a couple of 2.25 lengths behind Master Builder. Just was a bit keen last time, wasn't it? Ascot just didn't quite get home, but still a good run against many men. Time before at Newcastle probably just didn't suit your weather. Before that, ran well against Manxman, our old mate Manxman, at Goodwood. So yeah, look, these 2 have got form at this meeting last year, both double-figure prices. I'll go with them, Master Builder, Contacto.
Okay. And Peter Michael?
Yeah, I was saying to you boys before we recorded the show, I was disappointed with this race because you should have a few improving 3-year-olds in this that the sky could be their limits. But unfortunately, the state of the racing in the UK, most of them are being sold abroad. So we're left, taking nothing against the Reverend and Cabello de Mar, because I do think both of them have big chances. I think they are what they are already, and they shouldn't be, heading to betting for a race like this. But look, Cabello de Mar brings solid form into this race for me. Very consistent, has flown up the ratings in the last 6 months, from 75 to 99. But he did run a good race at Ascot and French Master. £2 higher here. I think that's a solid form in the race. I definitely respect the Reverend. Paddy the Squire is improving. There's a slight chance he might have left this race behind by going up £14 for his 2 wins, but he is improving, and I definitely wouldn't leave him out of calculations. There's out of the others at the bottom, Align the Stars could be a good shout from George. Blinker's first time could definitely spark a revival for that horse, so he'd be worth something small. But I'll go with Cabello de Mar is my main pick, and Line the Stars something small.
Okay, last race. There is a group race at Kempton. If the boys want to throw something into it towards the end, we will. But we'll try and keep this podcast to an hour, which means we've got 4 minutes left. So Push the Limit is your favourite for the big handicap at Ascot. It's the Silent Pool Gin handicap, worth 51k. I don't really understand why Tenability is not a shorter price, though. Not necessarily a shorter price than Push the Limit, but shorter than the 5-1. He was really good the other day. Kieran Fallon on board. He's up to a mark of 92 from 88. That was at the Shergar Cup when it was a pretty weak finishing ride and the horse could easily have been beaten if the race hadn't panned out. That's why Maureen Haggis was kind of freaking out in her interview, and I didn't blame her. Retains a lot of potential, I would have thought, George.
Yeah, I hope Push the Limit is every bit as good as that horse looks at the moment, but this isn't a race I'd be looking to play. A whole lot of unexposed, horses where the sky's the limit essentially for them in this race, and trying to work out which ones are well handicapped and which ones aren't. It's not for me. I would say Gary Moore's horse, the Outsider, has run better than the form would say on a few occasions this year. Actually ran very well at Royal Ascot up to a point. Maybe the first time blinkers could spark a sort of revival, but with the 7 runners, it's not appealing to me from a betting point of view.
Okay, Andy?
Just quickly. I think Daiquiri Bay ran a right last time. I think they dropped back in 222, so that's probably one for the sort of play spot or whatever. Tenability, Shergar Cup. I think the horse that came second in that team player, has actually won today. So that's come out and franked the form. Can't remember where it was running, but anyway, that's something to just bear in mind. We know it likes to track, and Push the Limit. I mean, it almost got wiped out, didn't it, at Goodwood? So that run was absolutely unbelievable. Really, it bounced back on the turn, didn't it? That horse that sort of wiped it out and stayed on its feet, luckily, and still won with a good attitude. So probably Push the Limit, but I do respect Tenability. Haggis has won 3 of the last 4 of this as well. Yeah,
that's another reason to be liking him. And Peter?
Yeah, Push the Limit and Tenability are going to be leaving their marks behind. The ground is an unknown for both of them. Tenability stands by Pivotal, so that, obviously screams soft ground shouldn't be an issue. One of them will handle the ground, and I'd be surprised if one of them didn't win. I don't know who to favour, maybe just because of the odds, Tenability, but Push the Limit was very impressive the last time. Made up ground like a well-handicapped animal and hit the line well. There's a chance he might have too much speed for Tenability.
Okay, let's get the best bets. George Gorman, you've got a good record with these. What is the nap? What are your best bets for the weekend?
It'd be good if I had given it any thought whatsoever, wouldn't it?
Andy Newton, what's your
bet? Do you want to come back to me?
Go on, I'll go, because we're going to try and get it under a minute, right? Look, nap is going to be Bo Echo in that 150 at Haydock, get published. I think it might go off favourite.
Okay.
And the sort of, each way longer price ones, 240 at Ascot, the Darkness race, we like Sword and Telemark. We like Sky Majesty in the sprint, and then the 225, that Way of Stars, the Baldwin horse that I think me and Emmet both like. Tom Marquand rides, big price as well.
Okay. Peter Michael.
I'll go on with Andy. Bo Echo 150s the nap, and next best 115 Snowmaster.
Let's go. George Gorman.
I'll go Paddy the Squire nap, and I'll go Kings Lynn each way next best.
I'm going to do one of my typical ambitious, let's shoot the lights out and go for a multiple bet. Zeus Olympius, Galatius, Tenability, Inishirin. There's a part of me wants to go for Bovadier with Christophe Soumillon on board, but I've had my 2 bets in that race, so I couldn't. So Zeus Olympius, Galatius, Tenability, Inishirin, Align the Stars, and then take your pick between one of Strong Warrior or Nostrum. I'm going to go with Nostrum because he's the insanely big price, but I think Strong Warrior's got a big chance in that race too, but I'm going to go with Nostrum because he's 40s. That's it. But that is our preview of the weekend's racing for Saturday. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. The boys on social media, at Peter Michael, P. Michael Racing, Andy Newton, X, Newt's Daily Lays, George Gorman, at George F. Gorman. Follow the boys, follow me. Radio Emmet. We're back with you on Monday as we review the best of the weekend's action. We'll look ahead to Irish Champions Weekend, to the St. Ledger as well. Hopefully, there's more winning tips coming your way. And we've already put the feelers out for the National Hunt Specials. The Paul Ferguson Weatherby's Jumpers to Follow first jump special is coming your way very, very soon. The winter game is on the way, and so are we. And we've got some big name interviews already lined up for the new jump season. So make sure you've hit the subscribe button, hit the like button to this episode of the podcast. We really appreciate your support from George, Andy, Peter, and I. Look after yourself and each other. Have a great weekend. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong podcast, independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.